Hi Capricorn, here is a general look at your solar chart for the whole of 2014, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. If you want more details, especially about how the solar eclipses might be affecting your sign, then you can find that on my website. We're going to have 3 Mercury retrograde phases. The first one starts on February the 6th, so I'll be speaking about how that might be affecting your sign when I do the February stars. And then there's going to be two solar eclipses. One's on April the 29th in Taurus in a very good angle to your sun sign, and the other one's on October the 23rd in Scorpio, also in a good angle to your sun sign. But really the big news this year, for me anyway, is the Grand Cross in the cardinal signs. Now this is going to be a trigger for the already long-running Uranus-Pluto aspect that's been going on since 2011 and is due to finish and come to its last close aspect in the summer of 2015. And this has been underlying all of the upheaval going on across the planet, not just for your sign and your own life where there's been upheaval and change, you may have noticed, but also for us all across the globe. And this is a sort of a tug of war between established systems, whether that's in politics, whether that's in banking, education, medicine, transport, belief systems. I mean, there's just so much of it going on because the spirit of revolution and transformative change is being triggered by this underlying dynamic of Uranus-Pluto. Well, the Grand Cross in the cardinal signs happening in late March, April, May this year, around the time of the solar eclipse, actually in April, which is going to add power to it, is going to be sort of a pivotal period. And as you are one of the cardinal signs, and the cardinal signs are the movers and shakers of the zodiac, so in many ways how you're handling what's coming at you will be setting a precedent for all of the rest of us later on down the line when this window closes. And this configuration in our heavens is yet another moment of choice as the mass consciousness moves out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. So yes, there's going to be I think quite a lot going on in that little phase there, that little period there, and also again in November when December, when Uranus and Pluto are coming close to each other again. But really they're not that far apart over the whole of the year, and as I say, that is having a very strong impact on your individual life. Other news, Venus and Mars will be in long transits as well. One of them is in your sign, and that's good news for you. Venus is going to be, came into your sign on November the 5th and will be there until March the 6th. So there's an extraordinarily long transit for Venus, and can give you a little bit of a break, really. Venus rules the venous circulation and also the kidneys and the sugar balance and really the fluid balance in the body. So just be aware with so much Venusian activity that you're keeping a sort of weather eye on that kind of thing, if you think you need to. But there's a lot of goodies really with Venus here. It tends to make you feel more sociable, more like reaching out to others, and also others will see you as more attractive, charming, persuasive, and of course you have always been that way, but it's just going to be more obvious now. Others will tend to be more inclined to be persuaded by you. It could actually make things a little bit better for you financially, or you just get the sort of urge to kind of have a bit of a makeover, and maybe to spend on things that you very much desire. So be careful, because the Venusian energy doesn't have an opinion about which way it's running, you know, whether it's coming towards you or from you out there. But this is a time for more mixing and mingling in a friendlier, more fun, entertaining kind of way with others. for making connections, contacts, friendships, and also in the love department. This could mean that somebody special could come into your life. And if there are feuds to settle, things to iron out with others, this could be a very good moment to do it. But if you're kind of being the go-between for somebody else, which is very much a Venusian thing, try not to end up as piggy in the middle, because that's not a very comfortable place to be. Mars entered Libra on December the 8th, 2013, and will be there until July the 25th, 2014. And this is an extraordinarily long transit for Mars, and it will tend to fire up your urge to be more dynamic regarding your ambitions, the master plan, the career, and just your general direction in life. So that's you working harder in those areas there. And this will be a period where you feel like making decisions and taking action about where you're headed, and then work very hard to get there. And you may have to bite the bullet, stop procrastinating, realize maybe because of the Uranus-Pluto makeover job that they've been doing on you, that things aren't going to be the same way as they used to be. They just aren't. So you kind of say, okay, if that's the way it's going to be, if that's the game I'm playing now, then let me just get on with it. Just figure out your strategies and as best you can in advance, and then kind of methodically follow them, which you're very, very good at doing, Capricorn, because Mars does have this rather hasty, impatient side to it. And if you get on the wrong side of the Mars energy, then that means that that will come at you through authority figures, officials, parents, other people in positions of power, or even the establishment out there in the bigger world, and they may work against your best interests. So be smart with this Mars energy, and it can help you go a very long way and be successful. Overall, this transit of Mars could inspire you to upgrade your image, work harder at reputation, improve your own authority or ability to lead. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. And if you are decisive and energetic, Mars will help you do well, despite his tendency to be a bit controversial. But you could get hot under the collar at times with the powers that be, those that seem to hold all the cards, and seeing them as being obstructive or them being aggressive. So try to play down clashes, keep your powder dry, and wait for the situation to sort of stabilize, and then start being decisive and energetic again. If you manage to keep your cool and not be too hasty, then you can make progress with the master plan and be successful. Jupiter is in Cancer until July 2016 when it enters Leo. So that means Jupiter is in your opposite sign and opening the way to growth through close personal or professional relationships. Because of one-to-one interactions, your horizons will tend to broaden. You will learn much through them. Others will be interested in your take on things too, with the Jupiter energy working here. Equally, you will be probably kind of intrigued by theirs. Partners, colleagues, clients, employees, employers, could get you thinking more expansively, but equally you will be stretching their understanding into new areas. But in order to get yourself in the right environment, you need to maybe think a little bit bigger and make yourself kind of put yourself out there a little bit more for Jupiter to really deliver in the way that Jupiter can in this part of your solar chart. But you could be influenced by those of a very different background, or just have a slant on things that you're not used to, and could catapult you out of your familiar mental box. Jupiter will be very, very, well, I was going to say very benevolent, but actually favourable is the better word, in all matters of love relationships. So that's chiming in really nicely with Venus just at the right moment. And it will boost, you know, all your connections with others, whether that's family or friends or in you know, romantically. and could facilitate a real feeling of mental rapport with another. And some of you could take the plunge and enter into marriage or some kind of fuller commitment to another person. Now, Jupiter leaves there on mid-July, and in some ways this is when you're more likely to get what is coming to you through another, or through the resources of another, or because of another. So this is the time that you could get more pooling your resources with somebody, getting more intimate with somebody in a love relationship or in some kind of an other kind of alliance. So it's a good time to team up, because then, because of that key connection or partnership, you are on the receiving end of the sorts of funding or resources or venue, space, property, equipment that you want, because there's somebody there that's kind of helping, you know, even picking up the tab for you every now and again. So somehow during this transit there will be sweeping changes which enrich life, which can be fortunate for you over time, but in the process you'll have to let go of something, or maybe a more than one something, which may have been interfering with that more rewarding life. And that includes your own outmoded ways of seeing things, your old approach, your old habit. This is when you need to practice the art of allowing abundance to come to you. Really, really it is, with Jupiter here in this area of your solar chart until 2015. Jupiter could really open the door to regeneration in the material sense, but also, I have to say, in a spiritual way, in an emotional way. It all depends what you need most at this time. Not what you want, but what you need. And it is a vibration which heals old wounds, if you allow it. And all the natives of your sign are going to feel the Jupiter influence, either through Cancer in the first part of the year or through Leo in the second part of the year. Saturn, your ruling planet, is going to be in Scorpio for nearly the whole year. It comes out of there on Christmas Eve 2014, and it's in a much more helpful, she is in a much more helpful frame of mind compared to where she was up until October 2012. So now you can put a steady flow of energy into, again, socializing, getting yourself out there into group efforts, or maybe over the wires, networking, just doing things which maybe, you know, working on getting the ball rolling on something that maybe has been on a shelf gathering dust for many, many years, you know, some sort of dream or hope or cherished idea that you've had. Well, you know, now the wheels, the great sort of heavy wheels, can just start slowly moving on that. But it is slow with Saturn, so you might actually feel a real lack in that area, that you haven't got the social circle or the group of friends or the friendship that you wanted. And then that is Saturn's very artful way of getting you to work harder at reaching into experience, into an environment where you can actually have that thing that you feel is missing. You know, these aren't my sort of people, this isn't my sort of scene. Well, then you've got to look for the one that is, you see, and you'll be feeling that you're missing out with Saturn there. Once you do, you know, you're slowly making your way up the hierarchy. You're slowly doing your Capricorn thing of the goat climbing the mountain, getting to the top peak there where you are secure and safe, and you can sort of see everything from that lofty, broader perspective. So it's not going to be what you know, but who you know, and how you are dovetailing your hopes and experience and knowledge with theirs during this long transit of Saturn. Those of you born from the 5th of January onwards, or from the, if you've got 15 degrees and beyond 15 degrees rising, you're going to feel this energy the most in 2014. Astrologically speaking, as one of the cardinal signs, you've got a lot of planetary action continuing to affect your sun sign in 2014. There's Uranus, Pluto, there's going to be Mars and Jupiter, all in a very quite confrontational angle to each other, making this grand cross. But at least Saturn now is in a mutual reception with Pluto, which is kind of not so bad, really. Uranus continues in a very hard aspect to Pluto over 2014, so you, with Uranus at the root of your chart, there will be lots of change and maybe, you know, comings and goings in the family, or to do with, you know, where you live, your domestic setup, change of routines, every now and again, depending on the degree that Uranus is at related to your sun sign. And you could be changing where you live during this long transit. You could be feeling that your emotional foundations are being rocked, really, every now and again with this long transit, and that may be because of what's going on in the family or the neighborhood or extended family. And after the transit's passed, you'll be able to re-establish more settled living conditions, but when that time comes, your priorities will have changed and you'll feel free of stuck conditions and too rigid an environment. That's the purpose of Uranus, is to free you up. And you Capricorns born 29th of December to the 7th of January will be between 8 to 17 degrees rising, going to feel this energy the most. Neptune's been in Aquarius, Neptune's been in Pisces since early 2012, and during that transit, which is in a really nice angle to your sun sign, you could get more interested in psychology, the occult, the other side, spirituality, mysticism, anything like that, developing your intuition, or it could be anything where you can develop your imagination through the arts. And you could become interested in things like metaphysics, interdimensional travel, remote viewing, have telepathic experiences, just, you know, altered states, really, with Neptune here. And you could have very strong dreams as well. But there may be some confusions and things turn out to be other than what you had imagined, because Neptune rules fantasy. So remember, that doubt and skepticism are healthy, and avoid allowing fantasy to colour your ability to see what is real. And you early Capricorns born the 24th to the 29th of December, all with 3 to 8 degrees rising, going to feel this energy the most. And of course Pluto is in your sign, and very strongly impacting you. Choices should be coming from a very deep place within you, and you may be just striving to project the more authentic version of yourself and what you stand for to others. Pluto is about power and how you use it, and so during this long transit, you will hopefully come to understand how to use that power for good and for what is best for yourself and others. But you can get very intense, you can get very sensitive and emotional with Pluto going through your sign. Subconscious projections are bubbling up to the surface. It's all about bringing stuff up, and if you don't own it, you end up projecting it onto others. You know, it's all them out there, and you'll be closer to the most primitive part of your knowing, as you can get very disorientated with the Pluto transit, but then in the second phase you start to orientate and you start to realize that you don't know what the hell's going on. So you've just got to kind of almost like surrender to this kind of great hand of evolution and hand of fate, really, that's there, which is the power of Pluto. And then in the third phase, and you earlier Capricorns will be in that, coming into that now, you begin to start reaching for that power, and in order to do that, you've got to let go of a lot of old stuff. So there may be a compulsion to turn the page, sweep aside the old order, overturn tradition, and if this is not what is best for your personal evolution or for others around you, then you've just got to turn your gaze within and start working from there outwards, and slowly regenerate your sense of self, the role you play in the world, your sense of self-identity. And you know, a lot of things could actually go by the wayside during this Pluto transit that you're in. And those of you born 31st of December to the 4th of January with between 10 to 14 degrees rising are to feel this energy the most.